Welcome back to the Lanterne Rouge Cycling Podcast, the recap of Stage 19 of the Tour de France, the final mountain stage of this year's Tour de France. We haven't had a GC winner or like a GC rider win the last three mountain stages, Super-Bagnères, Ventoux, and Col de la Loze. And this stage is very strange for a number of reasons. It starts being strange from last night, where Benji has the notes. The stage, which was originally from Albeville to La Plagne and had the Col de Cézanne, the stage was shortened due to what, Benji? Because I need...
Yes.
I don't know the name of the disease off the top of my head.
Okay, don't worry. We have an outbreak of contagious nodular dermatitis in the cattle on top of the Col de Cézanne mountain. And as a consequence, because those farm animals would have to be, I don't want to say it, but slaughtered, the farmers were probably not going to be having an enjoyable time. And also for risks of infection in some kind of way, they had to remove the first two categorized climbs, actually, because the Col de Cézanne had a climb that was already in the first half of that climb. Those two climbs are out of the race, so it reduces the stage from 130 kilometers to 95 kilometers, and that means that we lose what I would call the setup climb of the stage, Patrick, because without the setup climb, we start the stage with the Col du Pré, and the Col du Pré is exactly the climb that 2 days ago I said, okay, the mountain stage on stage 18 and 19, Visma can send satellite riders up the road on the setup climb, so the first climb of the day, and then Vingegaard might be able to attack on the Madeleine yesterday, or on the Col du Pré today. I did not believe in that anymore after I saw the revised profile, because there's no space before the Col du Pré with a steep section to send a satellite rider up the road for them to survive over the top of the Col du Pré ahead of a peloton in which you would like to set up an attack. So imagine, you've got a satellite rider in the breakaway and the gap is a minute. On paper, you want to attack from the GC group towards that satellite rider. If that gap is a minute, you also want to put some pressure on the group of that GC group before you make that attack. So hypothetically, Sepp Kuss or Simon Yates goes to the front of that GC group, starts pacing higher and higher, ramps up the tempo. By the time Vingegaard is able to attack, your rider in the satellite rider move is caught. And that makes it a useless satellite rider move. So I did not believe in a Vingegaard move on this first climb anymore. I low-key felt like Visma Lease was going to say to himself, okay, we don't see ourselves gaining 4 minutes on this parcours. We're just going to go for the stage. And then I expected some action on La Plagne, but not necessarily it coming from Visma Lease. And then UAE, also, I think they said before the stage that they would try to go for the stage, but parkour-wise, it's logical too, you know?
It is crazy, Benji, that the biggest race of the year, the final mountain stage of the year, gets not completely nerfed, but heavily amended.
Yeah.
Like a 92k stage with 2 climbs is very different to a 135k stage with over 4,500 meters of climbing in terms of the breakaway, in terms of KOM, in terms of, in theory, GC. The reality is no one cared because the GC's done. So no one cared anymore. If the gaps were much smaller, if you're Oscar Onley, who maybe you're better after huge fatigue yesterday, rather than an explosive stage like Hautacam, this is not good for you. For KOM, if you want to get it from the breakaway, this is not good for you. I'm not in logistics, but I have it on good authority that there are many climbs around the Albeville, Bourg-Saint-Maurice region. And
your source is Google Maps.
Yeah, my source is driving around behind the Visma guys in the car there. There's a lot of climbs there. How do you change the last mountain stage? Like, I think it's, if GC was close, which it isn't, but the guy in second, their team would be fuming.
Do we know how early this was communicated to the teams? Because I think I read about this.
Same time it was released, basically, the communique.
Was it yesterday evening? Because I don't remember anymore.
It was yesterday evening. And listen, maybe the cow... I shouldn't laugh. It is fucking weird, Benji. I mean, try explaining this to someone that a bunch of cows got dermatitis and then they had to heavily amend the Tour de France route.
Yeah, but how far in advance did they knew that those cows had dermatitis? Or were they told and at the ASO that those cows had... Did they notice it yesterday evening and then were like panicking? Because I would assume that if cows have dermatitis, that you'd see it relatively quickly if you're a farmer.
Listen, I don't know when, unfortunately, it's very sad, of course, but I don't know when the cows are being slaughtered, which was in the press communique.
Yeah, that's sad.
And they said it was to preserve the tranquility of the race. So maybe the farmers didn't want people on their land or near their land on the Col de Cézanne, but...
Mate, imagine farmer protest instead on the first climb, blocking a Vingegaard attack, which wouldn't have happened on the first climb, but...
It's just, you can't make this stuff up, honestly. But it did make the prospect of the GC victory much higher, or a win from the peloton much higher. Going to the stage, the big GC battle was Florian Lipovitz against Oscar Onley. Primoz Roglic was 5th, so Oscar Onley was sitting in a Red Bull sandwich. Yesterday, Roglic had gone on the attack, and today we would think, I mean, you can still win from the break in these stages. It depends on the appetite behind. Derek G and Ina Rubio, or was it Cepeda and Pino, they were in the break on the Crans Montana shortened stage in the Giro 23. They won from the break, but there was less appetite. Visma were defensive, Ineos were defensive, Almeida was defensive, so they won. Today that wasn't the case, Benji. Before we get to, I guess, the break formation or lack thereof, a word on our show partner, Join Cycling, and maybe many of you are like us. Benji and I don't have a goal. Well, actually, I don't know if Benji doesn't have a goal or not.
What do you mean?
Well, like, are you
losing
training for
weight?
Yeah, but like an event.
Me being less weight is my event that I'm moving towards, buddy.
There was no date.
The lightweight championships.
Yeah. You want to join me and Clement Brazafonso with Lenny?
Take me 5 years, but
I'm afraid there's a 5 foot. You have to get whatever the reverse of the limb lengthening surgery is. You have to get your legs shortened to join us, I'm afraid. I don't really have a goal. I don't have an event. I want to be fit to ride around Andorra and enjoy it. So when I go for a ride with Seb this morning and we go up some climbs, we can have a chat and I'm not out of breath. I want to be able to go back to Australia in the summer when I've got some more time to myself and crunch out some good Ks at a good pace, ride with some decent groups and mates who are fitter than me. Well, actually, they're not fitter than me because I just keep it going with my Join cycling plans throughout the year. And that's what a lot of Join users have, and that's where Join can come in for those of you who aren't training for a race, you don't have a finish line on the calendar. That doesn't mean you should drift aimlessly and slowly decline in fitness without realizing it. With over 400 workouts and personalized paths, Join gives you direction without pressure, without crazy interval workouts. You can do the Lanterne Rouge plan. It's a chill plan. Do like one, what I call real session a week. And the other sessions are like cruising around at a zone 2 talking pace, and you get fit. You keep progressing. It keeps you challenged and with a variety of those workouts. And every ride has a purpose, and those rides that feel easy, they still build momentum. So, no race, no problem. Join keeps you riding strong. Go and check it out through the link down below. They support us all year, so I want to also give a big shout out to Join Cycling as our show partner, not just this year, but last year as well, for making this podcast possible. Of course, with the biggest race of the year, I want to give them that shout out, and you can go and check them out. 30-day free trial down below. Okay, break formation, Benji. UAE made good on their promise. They just started nuking from the start.
Well, just before that, we saw Little Trek nuking it from the start to try and control towards the intermediate sprint. We keep forgetting them. Yesterday as well on the podcast, today as well, because at the end of the day, it's not highly influential on the outcome of the race. We already kind of assumed that the green jersey was secure, but they're still going for the points, and Jonathan Milan does take the 20 points here. And we do see a move that you've already mentioned a few times, where a nice way to go into the breakaway in a stage is when there's an intermediate sprint, you follow the wheel of the sprinters, because the sprinters tend to get a gap on the rest of the peloton, and Abrahamsen did that today, and that's how he got separation from the peloton without actually having to get rid of people from the peloton. So, well done on him. Then again, his climbing obviously wasn't going to be good enough to get over these climbs, so his move did not last too long, but like you said, UAE took control of break formation fairly quickly. We did have an attack on the first climb of the day on the Col du Pré, but the Col du Pré is a fake news climb, Patrick. I know we haven't used that term in a while, but I think it's a fake news climb when you see 12 kilometers at 7%, but the last 6 kilometers is 9%. That means the first spot is not that steep. So we see some attacks on the early slopes, on the easier slopes where Primoz Roglic already goes. We also know that Roglic pretty good at the steep part of this Col du Pré climb. We see Lenny Martinez going into the attack with a teammate, our bottle man from yesterday, and Valentin Paré-Peintre. Those are the most important names. We do see quite a few moves by Visma Leasebike at the start of the climb where it was from the helicopter angle, but I think Sepp Kustride, etc., maybe 2-3 riders, Kampenaerts or something. One of them ends up getting into a group, which is Kampenaerts. So basically the situation on this first climb is Rogla, Martinez, and Valentin Paré-Peintre at the front in the second group. Kampenaerts, Vos, Armirai, and Rubio. And then behind that, we've got UAE setting tempo in the peloton. Although we did see some early droppings in the peloton where we see Wout van Aert dropping, Benoit dropping, but also on UAE side, Soler dropping quite early on the climb. How did we look at who was going to come back after this? Because I felt like Soler might be able to come back after this climb, but when I saw Wout dropping, I was like, okay, it's over for him today.
Yeah, Soler, I think he was, I don't know, maybe having a siesta before or forgot to warm up on the rollers, perhaps. Because, yeah, he was, all of a sudden, UAE had 5 guys there, so they looked fine. Kampenaerts had bridged Koos across, and then Koos just did the typical Koos explosion.
Yep.
And I think Roglic, Col du Pré, Benji.
Yeah.
At what point do you call him back?
Well, I think we need to have this discussion in about 5 minutes.
Yeah, but there's other things. With UAE lined up with 5, and they're holding it at 40 seconds. I guess 40 seconds. Say you take. But the problem is he's with members of my club. So like, if Roglic gets to the bottom of this climb or this descent, he's not with Tobias Foss, he's not with Victor Kampenaerts, he's not with Thymen Arensman, he's not with Matteo Jorgensen. He's with 2 guys who are 50 kilos. Where they can't even help him.
That being said, you can look at it in multiple ways. You can look at it at option number 1. Roglic shouldn't be in the attack in the first place, because in doing so, you're taking the strongest potential helper of Lipovic away to defend a podium position against Only. And so you're risking a P3 in GC a little bit for a potential P4 in GC, which, if you think about it in that way, then Roglic should have never attacked in the first place. Now, me as a viewer of the sport of cycling, I am fine with shit tactics on my TV, as long as there's aura and fun and entertaining viewing experience. So Roglic attacking, I was enjoying it. It's what made the first half of this race enjoyable to watch to me. Lenny Martinez takes the K1 points on top, and like you say, Roglic ends up dropping the members of your club in the descent of the there's a second climb after the Col du Pré, don't know whatever it's called.
Roseland.
What is it? The Roseland. In the descent of the Roseland, Roglic drops Martinez and the other guy, Valentin Paré-Peintre. And Roglic, by the time we hit the valley, has less than a minute on Well and Swiss storming in the UAE group. And that brings me to option 2. Somewhere at this point, maybe earlier, like you said, maybe on top of Col du Pré, when you realize, okay, UAE is storming to get the stage victory, you need to call Roglic back, because they're doing the exact same thing they did yesterday, Patrick. Like, it's okay choosing to make a chess move. Choosing yesterday for Lipovic and Roglic to roll attacks in the valley and Lipovic to go away, then you must realize, okay, all the other domestiques will come back, let's adapt, let's have them wait again, stuff like that. Like, it's not because you made a move that you can't just cancel whatever's happening. And they forgot to cancel Roglic here, because he spends the next 20 minutes riding in this flat valley alone against a group with Tim Wellens spacing, and you just know what's going to happen afterwards. He's going to get caught, and he's going to get dropped on the next climb. That's the reality. So, Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe kicking the same stone for the second day in a row. I'm sorry, but that was painful to watch. Painful but enjoyable, because Roglic in the attack, I like it.
Yeah, I think Roglic just didn't care, because it doesn't make sense. You're not putting Only under pressure. And Bora know the tactic to put Only under pressure for podium. They did it on Super Bagnier, they did it on Ventoux. They worked Only over. And I think this was just the last. This move from Roglic, Benji, today, and this self-sabotage is a stronger confirmation of the Remco Evenepoel rumors that came out this morning than the rumors themselves. Because this is a ride of someone who's like checked out.
I agree in the sense, because after that, when Roglic gets caught, he gets dropped, but he also doesn't look like he's trying to hold on to the position he has in GC anymore. His top 5, he
loses 12 minutes.
Yeah, he loses 12 minutes and maybe 40 seconds by the end of the stage. He loses his top 5 position. If I recall, he's still going to be at the end of top 10 by the end of this stage because Healy was way further back, I think 25 minutes back in GC. But that to me looks like a rider that, like you say, checked out on his GC, but also checked out on Lipovic, to be honest. So it's kind of a little bit selfish if you think about it. Because what Roglic does here is also not helping Lipovic at all in this. Patrick is trying to catch a fly, and it is disturbing me. He's hitting it so hard, I felt it. Anyway.
No, if I was Lipovic, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. I can hear you.
If I was Roglic, I wouldn't help Lipovic for a single second. Fuck him.
Okay.
Lipovic chased down Roglic the whole race.
That's true. Yesterday.
Yeah, so...
Mondor.
Yeah. Like, it's... The dual leader strategy, in theory, sounds great until you introduce human emotions into it. And the dual leader strategy where Roglic went virtually into podium yesterday is great for the team. But actually, Lipovic wasn't happy with that situation because he's not getting the podium. And then, yeah, Roglic got chased back. It was a disaster in the end. And so I think Roglic was like, fuck it. Like, I'm just going to throw away my GC place then.
Okay, that's what happens. Now, 2 more things I need to add. First of all, on the earlier climbs, it wasn't just UAE pacing. There was another team pacing UNOX. The reason for that was Volkelaan was off the back, and Johannesson could move up 1 position in GC past Mr. Volkelaan, who was dropping. Also, when Roglic dropped in the valley, Armirai took over for Decathlon, and they did that because Roglic has dropped, and Felix Gall could move up in GC. So we saw that it didn't necessarily even need to be the likes of UAE controlling this entire stage for a stage win, because we get these typical end of Grand Tour battles for P4, P6, P3, P7, where teams start riding just because someone else is dropped, and that's part of the game. Now, I also thought about it in a different way. Sure, there might have been an idea by Bora to say, okay, we'll try and put Roglic into the breakaway at the start of today's stage to try and trigger only to start pacing behind him, but you're never going to create that situation. So that's not an excuse for that strategy by Bora, because that's never going to work, because UAE's always going to ride, and these other teams are always going to take over. So that's kind of my conclusion when it comes to Red Bull Bora today. S-tier aura by Primož Roglic, F-tier tactics.
And it didn't help for him once again. I mean, Jonathan Vaughters, I think, said it last night on Twitter or this morning that if like the motos are the worst things in his opinion affecting race outcomes. So, and I agree. Like Wellens had a moto the whole descent. Roglic didn't have one in front, and I think you just have to give both. The moto just has to be in the same position for both groups. That's just the easy solution. You're never going to say keep them too far away and lose TV footage. So, yeah, I think that helped well and didn't help Roglic. Anyway, we get to... I was glad as well that UAE did this. I really didn't want Martinez to win KOM. Like,
yes.
really didn't want him to win it.
Great story.
Yes, can he mathematically...
It's over.
2, 3, 5...
Right?
6.
I'm trying
7,
to fill up your
8,
counting.
9, 10. Yeah, it's mathematically over. Once they get to the bottom of La Plan, it's mathematically over with Lenny in the group. So that was really good with UAE pacing. And then it's very strange again, Benji, I have to say. Like, don't you find the start of La Plan strange?
Well, first of all, you still have the Decathlon pacing, right? At the very start of it, and then eventually...
No.
Oh, did I miss something?
Wellens starts pacing full.
Okay.
Drops Adam Yates at the bottom. So I'm like, oh, here we go. Pog is going out with a bang. How to cam lead out. Wellens goes.
Yep.
Like, it did you mention the Vauquelin gaps?
Yes, all of that is mentioned.
Yeah, I think I was attacking the fly then. Then Yates drops. The group is like 12. Narvaez takes over. I'm like, here we go. Pog's going to do 45 minutes solo and end this tour in dominant fashion and put Vingegaard in a coffin. Narvaez slows down. Narvaez stops. I don't know if he wasn't feeling as good today. I don't know what, or whether it was a long way to go on the climb. It's like a 17 Ks to go here. And we see Aurélien Paris-Panche. We see the decathlon train moving up. And they got two things on their mind. Kill Kevin Vauquelin and Primoz Roglic, because Roglic dropped when Wellens pulled at the bottom, and Gol can move up to 5th on GC, which is pretty good. And they start pacing first with Aurélien Paris-Panche, then Callum Scottson. Narvaez drops off that pacing, which I was like early with like 14, 13 Ks to go. And Callum Scottson, Andre Klein was good in Swiss. And then now there's problems for Pogacar, Benji, because if he doesn't drop Vingegaard straight away, there's a lot of runway of 7% on this climb, and he's got no Almeida to come back and pace.
Yes, that is correct. But I feel like he somewhat has to try anyway. But we also have other people in this group, you know? And I was kind of surprised that they may or may not have the energy to try stuff still. With Arensman going at this point on the climb, Arensman attacking basically, Pogacar attack bridging to that, flying past Arensman, Vingegaard following. This is just a very tactical situation, because that's going to keep happening as long as Vingegaard can follow Pogacar. Because when Pogacar attacks and cannot drop Vingegaard realizes, okay, if I counter here, or if I take over, or if I help Pogacar, I've got no chance to win this stage at this point. So he thinks I'm going to sit in the wheel of Pogacar. Meanwhile, Pogacar thinks, okay, I couldn't drop Vingegaard with my first attack. Arensman going to try and keep on attacking. Arensman keeps attacking. One time there, Pogacar gradually closes. One time there, Pogacar is on the wheel. But the reality is, if Pogacar keeps doing this, it's possible, sure. He can keep doing that. But Arensman also, if he keeps doing that, will stop attacking probably eventually. So eventually, Arensman gets the gap when he makes a move. And Pogacar sits up, Jonas next to him, and we've got this staring contest for a little bit. Because Jonas is not going to take over from Pogacar. And now Pogacar, the ball is in his camp. It's kind of weird. You'd say Pogacar, the ball is in his camp. Because Pogacar had his team pace all day and wants to win the stage. That is clear. But also, Vingegaard needs to win more than Pogacar technically, but knows that if he does help, he can't win. And that's what makes this a fun situation to think about.
Yeah, and let's run it through from this moment, Benji.
Okay.
I know I'm doing two days in a row of defense, and yeah, you can come at me, I accept it, but let's say, do you and me agree that Pogacar's been better than Vingegaard this Tour de France?
Yes.
If anyone listening disagrees, I think maybe we've lost you, and cycling's not the sport for you. I think if you think Pogacar's not been the best rider in this Tour de France, he has been.
Fair.
As Vingegaard sharing the work, if Vingegaard shares the work with Pogacar, Benji, how does he win? How does he win?
Well, by being better, which he isn't, which we established in the first question.
So, if Vingegaard pulls, Pog's going to attack him from behind as well after he recovers. So, that's what Pog will do. But I agree, it's like you have the two competing things. Vingegaard needs the stage more in a macro sense. Pogacar's the one who's signaled the team's intentions that they want to stage more today. So, but then Vingegaard's only way to win is for Pogacar to do a shitload more work because Pogacar's stronger.
That's what makes this fun.
Yeah, that's why the tension's good.
And Arensman is chilling at the front, but then an eagle comes flying down. Can you hear it, Patrick? The eagle comes flying down. Felix Gall is still pacing about 10,
Felix
15
Gall
seconds.
ain't an eagle. Okay. He ain't an eagle. He's something else.
He's like, I don't know, like a big-ass crow?
he's like, no, he's a stork. With the legs.
A stork.
He's a stork.
You're right.
Oh my
God.
Yeah. when him and Amaral are pacing, because they're kind of similar system builds, it's like funny to watch.
Luke says Austrian mountain cow. I think that's insulting.
He's way too skinny for that. What, has he got nodular dermatitis?
No, okay, we can't joke about that today. It's too early.
We can, Benji. I mean, come on.
Too soon. I stand with the cows.
The Tour de France evidently did too, because they changed the whole fucking route. And so Vingegaard's riding negative. And when was the last time Vingegaard has not had Pogacar ride with him in his wheel for like, I don't know, 3 years?
That's irrelevant today, in my opinion. In this
setting,
right?
in when was the last time Vingegaard beat him in a sprint? I guess Puy-Marie. Puy-Marie. And
not the same situation.
It's not the same situation. It's a 90k stage. Although we are deep into the third week. Aronsman, I think, Benji, let it not be lost on everybody. Aronsman's mega strong. And this is the perfect situation for him where he has the gap. Pogacar doesn't want to keep following his attacks. And once Aronsman has 30 seconds, Pog pegs it. Pog then starts slow pacing, and he realizes, because like Felix Gall can come back and pace, so he just waits 10 seconds, slow pacing. Gall comes back. Gall keeps pacing to put Roglic in a coffin for 5th on GC. Problem for Pog is Felix Gall gets word through the radio that Primoz Roglic is on 5 minutes, and so he doesn't have to. So he doesn't have to pull anymore.
Primoz Roglic not giving a fuck about this causes Felix Gall to stop pacing in the GC group on the final climb.
Yes, and then Pog is like, no, surely there's some GC guy that wants to pace.
Hey, what can I say, Patrick? What comes around goes around, or whatever you say. Because in the valley, it was UAE for Pogacar that caught Roglic. So Roglic thought to himself, I'm going to make sure Gall doesn't pace on the final climb.
That's what happens. Yeah, Gall is like goes and sits in the back. Only and Lipovitz are there. And then we see 7Ks to go. But after Pogacar's been pacing for a bit, he gives an acceleration. The gap quickly goes to 22 seconds. Vingegaard follows more comfortably than the first attack. Only follows in the wheel. Only doesn't relay. I don't think he can. Lipovitz is on a gap. And I think that Benji at that moment, Only doesn't have to do anything. Pogacar's going to pace. He's going to slowly pace Aronsman back. Only will attack and can do it at 2Ks to go or less because Lipovitz is cooked. That's what we're thinking. But Lipovitz comes back. Pogacar begins pacing. The gap goes to 30 seconds again.
After a second attack, even.
I want to reinforce that his whole stage is played out like this also because Aronsman is mega strong.
Yes.
As well. Like, he's stronger than Felix Gall. He's stronger than Lipovitz. He's stronger than Only. He's stronger than all these riders as well. He's like the third strongest on the climb again. And Pogacar paces it down to 20 seconds. Only drops with like 2Ks to go. What we weren't expecting. Lipovitz starts pacing, which I've not seen much snap from Lipovitz, Benji. I think Lipovitz does the right thing here.
I think so as well, especially because this is not stage 20. If this was... Because tomorrow there's always a world in which Only tries some shit. And especially with Montmartre as well on the final stage, any gap that you can have extra before the final day, let's say he crashes tomorrow with 6 kilometers to go. Or Montmartre with 6 kilometers to go. You want that extra buffer, so I'm perfectly fine with Lipovitz pacing. He was going to lose the race anyway. That guy has no snap. He's kind of like Aronsman in that sense. Yeah. No acceleration. So, this makes it so Lipovitz is now closing the gap towards Aronsman with Pogacar in the wheel. Perfect lead out with Vingegaard in the wheel. But the question is, Patrick, about 11-12 seconds with a kilometer to go, is it going to be enough for Pogacar, Vingegaard, or Aronsman to win the race?
And the jump just never comes. It never comes. We're like, at 600 to go, everyone's like, oh, Aronsman's cooked. They're going to jump, I'll get to him. 500 nothing. 400 nothing. 300 nothing. And then Aronsman gets around the final hairpin. You can't see them behind him. And what? Aronsman's just going to win? They're not going to jump? Yeah. Vingegaard eventually jumps at like 200, 250. Pogacar gets back to the wheel, not like quick smart, but he gets back to the wheel.
Lipovitz nearly crashes on a zebra crossing.
Yeah,
right?
Wow. But Aronsman's already got it sewn up. So Vingegaard does the sprint, Pogacar gets onto his wheel. It looks like he's going to contest it at 100 and then stops because he sees Aronsman ahead. And Vingegaard just rolls through for second. Pogacar third. Very, very strange finish. They were on 2 seconds. Lipovitz on 6 seconds. Oscar only loses 41 seconds to Lipovitz. Felix Gall on 134. Johannesson on 141. That's what I mean about Pogacar and Aronsman. Pogacar was chasing Aronsman to the point where he put Gall on 1 minute 34 in the last few Ks, and Aronsman held them off. So, yeah, was Pogacar going full with Vingegaard in the wheel? No. Was Aronsman still mega strong? Absolutely, and he never got any draft. Only, as I said, yes, he's third, looks very much in doubt now. Felix Gall, 6 on the climb, 134. Johannesson, 141. Ben Healy, 219. VPP, after being in the early break, he got caught at the start of that valley. He got caught at the start.
Really?
Yeah, and so I'm not sure. Yeah, he rode it. And also Simon Yates, 10th on 354. Lenny Martinez, 11th on 402. So they actually outlasted Roglic. Ben O'Connor, Fiat 513.
Wow. Roglic was going on a highway to the Gruppetto.
Jordan Jagat, 549. Vauquelin loses 618 because of the descent before the Rosalon. That short descent on the Col du Pré really cost him. GC, quite a few changes, actually. Pogacar, well, he loses 4 seconds to Vingegaard. The first time he's lost time to him this TDF.
The Tour de France is back.
It's not over, Benji. Vingegaard on 424. Lipovitz secures his third place. He's 11:09 now, back to 1 minute and 3 ahead of Only in fourth, although Only now doesn't have the presence of Roglic behind him. Felix Gall moves into fifth on 17:12. Johannesson moves up 2 spots on 2014. Andreas Leknesund pulling on the base of Rosalind and the over the dam really killed Vauquelin when the little red fire truck Costu was trying to bring him back. Roglic loses 3 spots. He's on 25:30. Healy 28:02. He, I think, extends his gap on O'Connor and Giga.
Mate, Roglic is the reason that Vauquelin stays on the same position.
Yeah. Because Gall and Johannesson leapfrog him.
Take Roglic out of the stage and you've got a way worse stage.
I think so, yeah. Vauquelin, he's sort of limping to the finish line now. In terms of the points jersey, Milan is on 80 points. He took another IS uncontested. KOM Poggi is on 13 points to Vingegaard. That's mathematically basically done.
White, sure, Lipovitz, but team classification. I've got a bit of a rant to tell you about, Patrick. I posted it on Twitter yesterday. I had a discussion with my father-in-law, who's not exactly into cycling. He's more into cricket and stuff. So you would have a great conversation with him, Patrick. And I was trying to explain pro cycling with my father-in-law, and this whole discussion started with, okay, so this is Pogacar. He's with the team with the white jerseys. Then Vingegaard is the team with the black and yellow jerseys in the race, etc. Why do these guys go into the breakaway, etc.? And then the discussion about the team classification started coming up, because I tried to explain that this is a team sport with an individual winner, and he came to the conclusion that I'm wrong in seeing GC as the most important part, and that the team classification is the most important thing in the Tour de France. And I think I must have explained it wrong for that conclusion to come my way.
I think he's correct, because when I look at the standings...
What, Patrick?
Visma like extend their lead in the team classification by 10 minutes today, Benji. A major coup. And indeed... To team classification. It does go to be honest, like we joke about it, teams classification does show generally who the strongest teams were.
Yeah, but like, should it be the way it is right now? As in, the way it is right now is the team classification is made by the top 3 riders per stage individually, not the top 2 riders in GC or stuff like that. Is that truly the way to find the best team?
I think so, because then you have the variety of stages.
Yeah, but if you're going all out for GC and you utilize your domestiques to the fullest until an absolute death pool,
oh no, I agree.
In so ruining your podium, in so ruining your team classification, then it might actually ruin your team classification that you're going for the yellow jersey.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think that's a flaw in the team classification.
Should it be the stage placement of just your best rider each day? But then it's just going to mirror the yellow. Well, would it mirror the yellow jersey?
Your worst rider. Every team is as good as the weakest link back.
I don't know, like Arkea are fourth on 2 hours. I feel like Arkea have been pretty good this tour.
The average of every rider, but then again, you can just abandon with half your team at the end of the Tour de France, and then only your first 4 riders will count.
Yeah, listen, I mean, I've probably already spoken way too much about teams classification, but yeah, it didn't change today.
But talking about the finish, because we kind of glossed over the
true. There was a lot of debate about it.
So the way I saw the finish is that Jonas Vingegaard assumed, like, to be honest, me as well, that Tadej Pogacar would eventually launch in the last kilometer to catch Arensman to go for the stage win. Pogacar did not do it. There's some people that said, okay, he looked tired, etc. I don't believe that. I think Pogacar had fully the capabilities to win the stage, but he didn't do it because, in my opinion, because he didn't want the heat for catching Arensman in the last 200 meters of a stage. And Vingegaard didn't expect Pogacar to not launch and therefore launched too late, in which Arensman wins. But if Vingegaard had launched early and caught Arensman, then I think Pogacar would have gone for the stage and would have taken it away from Vingegaard. That's the way I see this finish. So I actually don't think Vingegaard could have won the stage.
I agree. I mean, Pogacar's not an idiot. So people can't have it both ways. Again, is Pog good? Yeah, he's a pretty good rider.
Yeah.
Can people beat him in an uphill sprint at the end of a mountain? Not usually. Not usually. Even if he's a little bit fucked, he's always got something left. Even when he was absolutely cooked and Vingegaard did Pertus quicker than him last year, Vingegaard won by about this much. And that was when Pogacar was quote-unquote fucked. He's not an idiot. He is going to allow the situation to be just right so that Vingegaard panics at 600, leads him out, and then Pog would have won. And I think you can't draw conclusions from the fact that Pogacar, he didn't draw level with Vingegaard. He saw Arensman had won and he put the brakes on. If the stage win was on the line and Vingegaard goes earlier, I think Pogacar wins. That's my opinion.
Yep. I actually think so too. But in the grand scheme of things, this is a slightly off topic, but in the grand scheme of things, we will most likely have a Tour de France full recap again after the Tour de France ends, which is a podcast where we recap and conclude things from the entire Tour de France, whether it's how a certain team did, whether Vingegaard and Visma could have done things better, etc. We'll go into that discussion in depthly, but I think we'll also have to look at the roster going into a Grand Tour, because today I was once again quite disappointed in seeing the level of Wout van Aert in support of Vingegaard, for example, and yes, he's had some good moments in the Tour de France, but way too limited for what I expected for a Wout van Aert, and it makes me doubt whether he should have been selected for the Tour de France after the Giro in the first place. But then you look at the team of Visma, and I'm also not sure if there's so many riders I could have been able to pick instead. A Ben Tullet maybe after the Dauphiné. But anyway, that's a discussion that we really need to have in the post Tour de France full recap, I think.
Yeah, I mean, think back to 2022, Benji. Like the balance of power has shifted. Wow.
Yep.
I actually don't think the UAE team as a whole was that dominant either. Like Pogacar himself, Benji, the reason he was in this conundrum was because he was isolated by Callum Scottson pacing with 15Ks to go on a 90K stage.
Even with Almeida out of the race, that should not happen.
Why does it happen? Because they completely overpaced Col de Broe. So, like, they just fucked their whole team by Wellens doing an all-out 20-minute effort on Col de Broe. So, because it's not necessary. You don't have to catch the break at the bottom of... But I think they were burnt by the Super Bagnaia and Von 2 breaks winning. But anyway, the point is, Visma's team probably needs a refresh for the Tour next year. And every team should be doing that. What did UAE do after they lost a couple of years in a row? What did they do? They refreshed their team, and then Galibier, they flipped the script from the 2 years ago on the Galibier.
Time to buy Ayuso, the pinnacle of Super Domestique, Patrick. I don't think Visma has the money from my perspective.
I think Ayuso is now underrated. But that's a weekly show discussion. We've got to save that one.
Weekly show discussion. Now, I want to talk about all these transfer rumors that I'm seeing towards Visma Lease. Like Filippo fucking Fiorelli I saw on my timeline the other day. I can't wait to talk about it on the weekly show.
It's nearly 1 August, Benji. You know what that means?
Know what that means? I don't know. Is it media speculation so far?
NFL preseason starting. No, it means the teams can announce. It means that teams can announce the transfers, and then we can get stuck into them.
Didn't that rule die last year?
Yeah, no team realized. You can announce a transfer, like, yeah, you can just announce it when you want. No one did it because it is rude. If you signed,
Lorena Wiebe is going to SD Works being announced on the first day of the Tour de France Femme. Remember?
That's what I mean. It's a bit rude. So I think it's nicer to not do it. Yeah.
It's annoying for us as well if it's announced during the Tour de France because we can't cover it together with the Tour de France.
Exactly. I like having it in August. Pre-Vuelta gives us stuff to talk about. So,
because to be clear, there's a lot of shit that's happened in the world of cycling in the last 3 weeks during the Tour de France. We'll try to get to that in the first weekly show, which most likely will be after the Tour de France Femme, right?
Yeah. It'll be around then.
I've got a list already. It's getting longer.
We'll do it in the recap. Have you got anything else to say from the stage, Benji? I guess this is Vingegaard's last chance to win a stage in this year's Tour de France. He's won one in all the last three that he participated in, and missed that chance. That'll be bittersweet for him. But otherwise, I would say these were the last 4 mountain stages have been very weird. They've been weird. I would say weird. That's my feeling, and just like you come away from them with a flat feeling.
Yeah, can I be honest?
Respect to Arensman though.
Opening up a little bit, I had a pretty rough time in the first week of the Tour de France due to some personal issues, and going into this third week, I'll be honest, the last 4 days, I felt burnouty until this morning where I was like, okay, the cow disease, sure, it happened. It made the stage less implosive as a general, but today I actually really enjoyed the stage, and I don't know why. It felt like...
Roglic.
I think it definitely helped. Like, I said it earlier, S tier aura and entertainment, F tier tactics. But I don't care about the tactics being that good. Sometimes I get frustrated. When I see a team doing something really stupid on TV, and I want them to do better, then I get frustrated. I don't particularly care about anyone in this race individually. I just want a good race. So today was just entertaining for me.
Arensman, this is really, really impressive stuff to win from the peloton. Yeah, like, does he give up on GC, which he did? He came to this race with no pressure on GC, and now, he's storming. So, Arensman, did he win a stage of the Giro?
No, right?
No, he had a shocking Giro.
Like Roglic.
He's one of these
for the second Grand Tour.
He's one of these big diesels, Benji. He's now on 63 race days. He just needs a lot of Ks in the legs and racing to warm the engine up. And now he's the third best climber in week 3 of the Tour de France on 63 race days.
Based on that strategy, if you look at the pattern, send them to the Vuelta.
He can do the Vuelta now. I probably go well. He just needs to, because he's got no explosivity. He just needs Ks.
Yeah.
Okay, tomorrow's stage from Nantua to Pontarlier, 185 Ks. This is a transition stage breakaway if I've ever seen one, the likes of which was won by Asgreen in the past, Campenaerts, Polet. We open up with a category 3, 12 Ks, 4%. It's quite irregular, so there are some steep parts. Oh, not really, 6%. Then they do, it's really up and down. Like, it's, how much climbing's in this? 3,000 meters of climbing. And they do some more like rolling hills. The intermediate sprint, Johnny Milan got no chance. It's the break will have been gone there. Quinn Simmons should be freed from the shackles of Milan. The hardest climb of the race is the Côte du Tézy, which is 3.5 Ks, 9%. This was used in the Dauphiné in 2023, where Carapaz attacked. Very steep in parts, 2 Ks at 10% in the middle. That's crests with about 63 Ks to go. The good climbers will want to use that, like they did in the Stage Wellens one on stage 15. Then some more rolling hills, another 2.6 K, 6% climb, 25 Ks from the finish, and then it's a flat finish with a few more hills beforehand. Very, very hard stage. I can only see this really ending in one way, which is a solo attacker.
Yeah, I basically agree with you. I do think I would like to see something at the start of the stage, just to show that he's trying something. Jonas Vingegaard needs to attack on the first climb, trying to slip into the breakaway. Just saying, there's no risk to it. Because if it doesn't go, nobody's going to counter you on the first climb of the day. He has to do it. I'm sorry, Jonas. It's a must. Nonetheless, it's probably going to be a breakaway winning the stage. I expect the likes of Quickstep's going to be wanting to go in the breakaway for this, I think. The likes of Acorn, Pancho maybe on the climb, most likely Sharkman together with Acorn, I think. Eva Vacation is a team that I look at with multiple riders available to do so. Ben Healy might be a little close in GC to be allowed to do that because last part of the Grand Tour, so other teams will start to chase if Healy does that. Intermarché needs to try with a couple of riders. Binyam is going to be for the final stage, I reckon. I see Ineos trying again, not with Arensman, but anyone else, to be fair. And which other teams are we looking? Literally every team, I'm sorry, but even, we spoke about it earlier, 3 riders from Visma, 3 riders from UAE for the team classification, buddy.
Well, yeah, that'll be a big battle in the break. Johnny Narvaez might get freed tomorrow.
It's possible. It's the day to do it. And more than just Narvaez, just send fucking 2 up the road. Doesn't matter. Wellens needs to go in the break.
I think, who am I going to pick?
I want to pick. Not a bad.
No, I think 3,000 meters. I don't. Côte d'Azur, he's getting in the car.
You're right.
You got to be able to climb. I think Alaphilippe's going to do something silly. I think Simmons is going to be really strong. What do you mean? What do I mean?
Alaphilippe would never.
I think Simmons will be really strong and like he'll be a valiant third and he'll deserve more, but it doesn't happen. I'd love a Harry Sweeney win here. I think you got to climb
to go through the list. Mauro Schmidt?
You got to climb well.
Mauro Schmidt was a bit sick last week, if I recall correctly.
I like Jayco. I'm going with Ben O'Connor.
Romain Grégoire has had a shocker in this race, to be honest. I was really rooting for like a stage win somewhere, but something must have happened.
The problem with Grégoire is he was flying when it was the worst time to be flying because you couldn't beat Van der Poel and Pog at the start. If he had that shape of week 1 for tomorrow, you're looking good, but he doesn't have that shape. The reason I pick O'Connor is I look at stage 19 in 2023, where he attacked with Moritz and Asgren, and that was like not as hard a stage, and he was really good there. He's in good shape, so I think Bok goes.
Okay. Inspired by your flag,
go Plappy.
On your chest, I'm going to go for Quinn Simmons.
Oh, okay, fair enough. But I also could like a Plapp win here as well.
Yeah, but he was in a good level on that one stage that I don't remember when it was, the time trial. But outside of that, he's kind of been meh.
He should help. Plapp tomorrow should help O'Connor and Schmidt get in the breakaway on that 12K 4% climb. He should pull full for them there. And then O'Connor can work on Côte d'Azur. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the recap of stage 19 of the Tour de France. We'll see you with the recap of the transition stage tomorrow. Ciao, ciao, ciao.
Woo!